And well, to discuss that question, we are now being joined live by Daniel Rubinstein from Tel Aviv. He is a former aide to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Glad to have you on the broadcast. Now, as we mentioned before, Iran has been missing from the talks so far, and it is least to say that it is one of the powerful nations when it comes to West Asia. So now we have the statement from Mike Pompeo, and he said that the war in Gaza ends when Iran decides it does. What do you make of this comment first?
The Iranian regime has invested vast sums of money in making sure that other people fight and die in wars on behalf of the Iranian regime. Iran was a primary sponsor of the Hamas terrorist army in Gaza. The Iranian regime has a proxy army in Lebanon called Hezbollah, and the Iranian regime has been supporting the Houthi pirate army in Yemen, all of whom formed a ring of fire around Israel 2 years ago when they launched a war against Israel. But now the Iranian regime is in a much weaker position because it overplayed its hand. The Iranian regime also fired ballistic missiles, hundreds of ballistic missiles at Israel, but Israel has been able to roll back the Iranian regime's influence. Israel has targeted the Iranian regime's nuclear program. It has largely defeated Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, and Israel has even reached the Houthis in Yemen. So I think the Iranian regime needs to get the message that it needs to invest these vast sums of money in its own people and stop supporting wars throughout the entire region.
All right, well, coming to Hamas now. The hostage became a key sticking point in the deal. We know that so far. And if you look at Trump's peace plan, Hamas has no role in future of Gaza. Now, considering that there is also a request for Hamas disarmament, if Hamas do get along with the hostage deal, how likely is it that they would agree to this disarmament?
Right now, negotiations are taking place in Egypt. Hamas is in the room with the mediators, the Egyptians and the Qataris, and I hope the Egyptians and the Qataris and other countries in the region, such as Turkey, are telling Hamas very clearly to accept the Trump plan for ending this war. Hamas has brought far too much damage to the region. Hamas needs to get the message that it needs to disarm, it needs to give up any role in the future government of Gaza, and it needs to give up the hostages that it has been holding in underground tunnels in Gaza, torturing them and starving them. If Hamas accepts the Trump 20-point plan for peace in Gaza, we will all be able to move on to a better future, Israelis and Palestinians alike.
And considering about the hostage deal, we know that if that comes through, and Trump has also demanded a ceasefire, we don't see it so far. Do you think that a hostage plan would push Israel to stop and go for a ceasefire soon?
Yes, this 20-point peace plan by Trump calls on Israel to cease all military operations in Gaza. What it calls on Hamas to do is say yes, which means Hamas needs to give up power in Gaza, it needs to disarm, and most urgently and immediately, Hamas needs to release all of the hostages that it has been barbarically holding for 2 years. This is a way to get out of this horrible war, which the people of Israel did not want, but we cannot live in peace alongside a jihadist terrorist army that's walking distance from the villages that Hamas invaded on October 7th, 2023. All of the people of Israel are waiting and hoping for Hamas to say yes to this plan and for Hamas's backers, specifically the Qatari royal family, to pressure Hamas to accept this deal. When Hamas accepts this deal, the war can end.
And how is the Israelis looking at this deal, considering that there are leaders like Smotrich and Ben Gvir not happy with Netanyahu agreeing with this plan without eliminating Hamas?
The public opinion polls in Israel show that an overwhelming number of the Israeli public support Trump's 20-point plan for disarming Hamas, releasing the hostages, and ending the war. There is a minority in Israel that does not like this plan, but the Prime Minister of Israel maintains his parliamentary majority. While he has said that he accepts this plan, we are all waiting for Hamas to say yes.
And is there what kind of sticking points is Israel looking at in this deal?
Well, we're looking at the sticking point of Hamas deciding that it wants to find a way to continue this war, that it wants to keep its weapons and maybe keep some hostages. Hamas may engage in some delaying tactics and say, oh, we don't know where all the hostages are, we need more time to look, and Hamas will use this time to regroup, rearm, and prepare for the next round of fighting if it turns down the Trump 20-point plan. We are all hoping that the entire world, all of the governments of the world that want to see this war come to an end, will say with a very clear voice that this is the plan that Hamas needs to accept, and we can all build a better future if Hamas says yes.
All right. Well, of course, we'll have to leave it at that, and we're going to have to see how the talks come out. Thank you so much for joining on the broadcast and giving your opinion.